Howdy folks. They say in life it's all about the timing, and I can really grasp that concept now. When we moved up here many years ago and I got this wonderful shop, I decided that I had a list of things that I wanted to do, try, learn, what have you, and I was going to start knocking some of those off the list. Things went pretty good for a long time. One winter I decided I was going to learn how to hand hew logs with a broad axe, and I did so. I'm not great at it, but by God I did a couple of them, and I'd say I was competent enough to get the job done. One year I decided it was time to learn how to reload shotgun shells, and I did that. I've still got all my fingers, all my toes, and I can still see out of both eyes, so I guess I did pretty good there too. Well, a couple of years ago we ran into some snags. The winter of 2019-2020 I was going to teach myself how to reload cartridges, metallic cartridges. Well, anybody that knows anything about that situation knows how badly that went, because I didn't have all the stuff. I'd been gathering stuff, but I didn't have everything I needed. Well, this past winter, it was going to be the year I finally did rock tumbling. I've been slowly gathering stuff. I had 2 rock tumblers, and all I needed was the barrels. Well, you know what? I never thought that would be an issue with shortages, but it was, and it still is. So, doing some checking and looking around, I found a company that made barrels out of PVC pipe. They use 6-inch pipe and a end cap and a 6-inch to 4-inch reducer, and then they cap it off with one of these for easy access. They look good. A couple issues I had was I'm kind of a cheapskate, and they wanted a fair amount of money for each barrel, and I know how much PVC pipe costs, and I know how much fittings cost, and I know how to cut it, so I shamelessly copied them. Plus, honestly, the one issue that I thought of with the 4 to 6 reducer, and I may be all wet with this, but I feel that would be an issue, because instead of having a layer all the way across that had the same weight on it, you're going to end up with rocks up in the cap, and whatever's up there, unless it keeps going side to side, so to speak, is not going to get ground as well, I don't believe. And I just also, most professional rock tumbler barrels are flat-ended. So I'm going to show you in a minute what I did here, but I ended up making my own. In this video, we're going to try out the 3-pound barrels I made, and we're also going to do several scientific experiments during this course of video series. So I'm going to turn our camera around here in a minute and reposition it, and we'll get started and get some barrels loaded. Alright folks, I'd like to introduce you to my new friends, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, otherwise known as the 3 barrels of the Rockopolis. These are made out of Schedule 40 4-inch PVC pipe, and there's actually going to be a few more things that are going to be science-y, but 2 of them for this video will be, will this even work? The other aspect is, you can see that old Huey has 2 vanes. Dewey has 4. Dewey also has flat caps, which I wish to heck I could have found more of those. The difference in size you'll see in a minute when I put them on the tumbler, because I had to cut them to fit. These domed caps, for several reasons, are really less than handy. One being this big lip in here, whereas this is basically, when this is seated, it's flat, just flat. It's got a lot more surface area. And 2, because they bulge out. Well, That gets you a little more capacity, which is nice, but I would have rather had this been consistent, and then I could adjust these to get, you know, I would have made it so 3 was a snug fit on these tumblers I've got. But the second part of the thing, the science part, I guess, is you can see Louie has no vanes or, I don't know, tumbler assistance or whatever. And again, Dewey has 4. Well, originally, this is what I thought you normally get, and I think until recently you did get. The inside of this, which is a Harbor Freight barrel, there's nothing in there either. So I thought, well, why do I need to do that with mine? After I did a little more checking, I found out the Lortone company, which has got, basically, they're one of the more highly thought of tumbler barrels. Even their 3-pound barrels now have molded flats all the way around it, and it's supposed to aid in tumbling. Whereas the smooth, well, anyway, but this has been the style for many years. So experiment 1 will be, will these even work? Will they survive? Will the grit eat through them as the tumble goes on and ruin them? And 2, well, will those vanes survive? I hope they will. And the other aspect is going to be, will there be a noticeable difference between the barrels, as far as like this one ready to go to the next stage, this one looks like it hardly got ground at all. So those are some of the aspects of this video as far as our scientific stuff goes. Alright, what I've done here to try to make this as fair as possible, these are rocks that I bought off Amazon. It was, I don't remember the company name, but it was listed as South American Mix. And I went ahead, I marked these, this is about 2/3, which is 2/3 to 3/4 seems to be industry standard for filling your barrel. You don't want to overfill it, because when it turns, there won't be any grinding going on. They'll just roll in place, I guess, or I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, but they're not going to tumble around enough to get any grinding or polishing done. So I went ahead and filled each one to its respective spot, and then I weighed them on the kitchen scale. 1 pound 11 ounces, 1 pound 7 ounces, 1 pound 12 ounces. Well, these are supposed to replicate a 3-pound barrel. Alright, one thing about that, this is more of a, I think in rock tumbling this is more of a volume game than an actual weight game. You need to have space for the rocks to tumble. If you pack these in, you could Tetris them in. Sure, I could have probably gotten more in there, but again, when they're on their side, it's not going to roll. They're not going to tumble and get your nice polishing done. Now, I did do a little checking. These are rocks that I've gathered from the property, and you can see they're all relatively smooth. They almost look like they came from the beach. Well, given the fact that they fit tighter, I was able to get it up to 2 pounds 3 ounces. Not a huge gain, but again, all these angles, when they mesh together, unless they happen to lie flat together, there's a lot of space between it. And honestly, for that matter, this is the Harbor Freight barrel. This is a professionally made rock tumbler barrel. When I filled it to its line, I got 1 pound 13 ounces. So again, I think 3 pound, it almost should be stated in volume, I think, more than anything. And I did kind of look around, because I thought I had seen somewhere where it said, okay, well, it's rock and then the water and the grit. But I swear I've also read it, just it's 3 pounds of rocks and then the water and then the grit, so you're looking at like 4.5 or something total. Alright, I dumped all the rocks out of their bags so you can actually see them a little bit better. Looks like fairly even piles. Like I said, the weights were all around the same. Some of these are, actually quite a few of them are, I think, cutoffs. And I think that's either Apatite or Celestine. I can't remember which. I'll do more checking and get back and let, either put it in the description or talk about it in another video. I believe that's a big chunk of jasper. Quartz. And you can see that was definitely worked. So, something got made out of these, and then they send you the scraps and you tumble them. That's a pretty piece of amethyst. There's quite a few really nice ones of those in this batch. Just here, you want to see something cool? Look at that. I don't know. Hopefully that shows up good on the camera, because I just think that's neater than all get out. Look at how beautiful that is, guys. Shoot, that came out of there. What was another one that did that pretty? This one kind of glowed beautifully too. The white stuff, the quartz, obviously, it glows really neatly. I keep thinking I want to build something that you can put these on and it changes colors, kind of goes lighter and darker, or dimmer and brighter or something. Little LED light, but I'm no kind of computer hacker person, so well, that one doesn't transfer. But so I'm going to get these loaded in their various tumblers, and then we're going to put some grit in it, and I'm going to do some more jabberjawing, and we'll get back to you. Alright folks, I got them loaded up. I just wanted to show, hopefully this will show, but this will give you an idea of what happens in the barrel, if it'll show. But obviously I got to have my hand to cover the rocks that fall out, but you can kind of see how they just kind of swap around, tumble, and fall over. Now this is the one without the veins, so that tells me that seems to work. Sans veins. And it'd be a lot easier making them with this instead of having to go through all the trouble of putting the veins in anyway. But I'm going to go ahead and load them up with grit and water. The instructions I got with I bought this, it's a starter kit off Amazon. Well, I also bought a much larger amount from, I think it's the Rock Shed. I'll double check that and I'll leave a link in the description. But I figured, well, I might as well use this one up first. This is 60 grit silicone carbide. Now, their instructions that came with it said two tablespoons per pound of rocks. And I'm not sure I'm going to stick with that or not. I got to do some thinking here real quick. A lot of it, 3-pound barrel, 3 pounds of rocks, whatever, what have you, it's a tablespoon per pound. Most of the guys I watch, it would be 3 tablespoons. And again, these aren't 3-pound loads. Those guys may be doing smaller rocks like this, so they're closer to 3 pounds. So I got to do a little soul searching here and decide which I'm going to go with. Too much probably won't hurt anything up until a point. I mean, these have to be able to move around freely and get ground on each other. So obviously if you fill the thing too full, it's not going to get that kind of effect. So anyway, I'll be right back. Alright, I went ahead and followed the recommendations of 2 tablespoons per pound, and I further kind of upped it a little bit, because even though none of those has exactly 2 pounds, I thought they were close enough. So I did 4 tablespoons per. The other quick note on this build, my homemade thingamajiggies here, PVC pipe is good stuff. It's not designed to seal unless it's been glued together. I did a lot of leak testing with these. I just put regular old rocks in it and then water and ran them and tried a fair number of different stuff. What I finally found that works is this product called Super Lube. It's a PTFE, which is Teflon. So food grade. It's not corrosive. It shouldn't do any staining of the rocks. Plus, I've been very careful not to get any inside. It's nice because it'll it'll flow through a syringe like this, so I could put a very even, nice little bead around the top, and then I do the same on the sides, and then I use a tongue depressor to kind of schmutz it down and flatten it out a little bit. When I was doing my tests, I had some of these run for 5 or 6 hours with no leaks. So we're gonna get them buttoned up and get them on the tumble here in a second. You know, I decided early on I was going to need vent holes for these, so I drilled and tapped for these little, I think these are 1/4 but don't quote me on that, but these little nylon screws, so I could get the top on and then not block the shot with my hand so you could actually see, but basically screw it on. And it's going to sound redneck as all get out, but I'm not 100% sure these are going to work. If they do, I will come up with a much better fastening system, but I'm going to be honest with you folks, I'm going to tape these suckers shut, because again, didn't seem like it was worth the time and effort to, I figure probably I can find some small screws that'll just barely go into the actual pipe, and that's what I'll use, countersunk of course, so they don't interfere with the rollers. But why go to all that trouble if 3 days from now I'm going to come out here and find out these things, you know, the grit just ate a path right through and they busted in half like an egg. Hey folks, as you can see in the preceding segments, these were made in Ferndale, Michigan by Lapidary Hobby Crafts. I can find literally very little, if any, information, company history-wise or anything like that. I had actually bought this one, which I believe is the older of the two because it's got a metal tag, and the other one with the bluer colored tag. This one came from an auction with a whole bunch of reloading brass, and I actually excuse me, I already had this, which is it's an olive barrel from Athens, Greece. It's got nice, pardon me, it's got this nice screw-on cap, and this with some stainless steel pins and how much ever brass you wanted and a couple of scoops of Lemmy Shine worked really good for that. Stuff came out like factory new. But anyway, and I mean, I also got this because I knew at some point I was going to get some barrels and do some rock tumbling. So you can see there's a little bit of space, but not much. Redneck tape job. You know, duct tape would have looked better, but now I can see if I do have any leaks, which is still a possibility. Hopefully it'll just seal it in there and it won't be an issue. But anyway, these, the other thing I really liked about these is the only downside is the wood base, but all the components on this tumbler are just top notch. Both have Dayton motors, oilable Dayton motors at that. They've got oilable, which is unusual, but the Zerks on them are even oilable. They got the little flippy caps. So anyway, they seem like really high quality, but I think it's time. I'm a little nervous because this has been a long time in coming, and I'm afraid it's going to be a bunch of effort for nothing. But everybody cross your fingers for me. Hopefully this ends up producing some really nice polished rocks. Look at that. Now, we'll get to do that for 7 days, day and night, 24/7 carry on, as they say, and what I'm going to do with the series is when I do the clean out and go to the next grid, I'll do a segment there. We'll do some testing. We're going to do some other testing too, but I'm not going to spoil that yet. But anyway, we'll see with this particular little run of test whether there was much difference, if any, between no veins, 2 veins, and 4 veins. It's going to be a little subjective, but that's why I tried to pick real similar rocks. And we should be able to get an idea, hopefully. I'm hoping it'll be like totally night and day. Subtle difference, well, that's going to be a little harder to judge. But anyway, I guess that's it. I will see you, like I said, in 7 days with this. And we'll see what we've accomplished here. I can't wait. I know this is not a great hobby for impatience. So thank you for watching, folks. I appreciate it.